talking about fear versus desire. These are two very strong but polarized emotions. One, desire, causes us to pursue the things we want, and fear generally causes us to not. It causes us to shrink back so that we don't, because there's a lot of elements about fear, which I'm going to talk about, that make us sort of stand still and stay stuck. Here's what you need to know. When you're battling between a desire and a fear, fear will always win. Fear is a stronger driving force than desire is. Whatever it is you're afraid of, generally those feelings are associated with feelings of discomfort. So I'm going to give you an example. A couple weeks ago, maybe it was last week, I talked about intermittent fasting. And I talk about intermittent fasting in my daily life all the time. I talk to people when they ask me what I'm doing, like how I stay healthy, whatever. Intermittent fasting is one of those things. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description box below. When I have conversations about intermittent fasting with people in everyday life, this is generally how that conversation goes. They say, hey, what are you doing? You know, you look great, blah, blah, blah. And I say, oh yeah, I practice intermittent fasting. They say, what's that? I say, oh, it just means that, you know, I generally fast for 14 to 16 hours a day. And then they say something like this, oh, I could never do that. And I say, why not? And they say, because I get so hungry at midnight. It's not that you can't do it, it's that you are choosing not to do it, despite all the benefits, because you're actually afraid of being uncomfortable. Because hunger is a feeling of discomfort. For some reason, people think that if they don't eat at midnight when they're hungry, then all of a sudden the 4 horsemen will ride, the apocalypse will happen, I don't know, the world will come crashing down if for, you know, a little period of time you are feeling uncomfortable. And so that is what fear does. So when people are afraid of failure, for example, you're afraid because failure is going to produce elements of discomfort, meaning people may judge you, you may have lost out on opportunity, and that's uncomfortable, or maybe you don't want to have to tell somebody that you failed because that's embarrassing, or maybe people don't want to pursue their dreams because they are afraid of how long it's going to take, right? So, oh my gosh, I have to put in so much time, I have to put in so much effort. Like if you want to pursue, let's say, a singing career, for example, you have to get a vocal coach, and then you have to practice every day, and then you have to just be out hustling on the grind. Like everyone starts somewhere, you don't start off like Beyonce. So all of these elements, like when people start to look at all of the things that could go wrong, it makes them feel uncomfortable and it makes them shrink back. It makes them not pursue the things that they absolutely desire. So even if I want something really, really bad, if I have a fear about pursuing that particular thing, the fear will generally always win because we are so conditioned to not be uncomfortable, right? So for example, I'm a really cold person. So if I'm cold, I'm uncomfortable, so I'm gonna go find a sweatshirt because I don't like to be uncomfortable. That's just human nature. Fear doesn't just go away if you don't want to be afraid. You're like, I don't want to be afraid, and then you just push it away. That doesn't happen. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of working constantly from the inward out in order to completely eliminate fear. We know that because we talked about the subconscious a couple weeks ago, and when it's implanted in your subconscious brain that you're afraid of something, it's really difficult to uproot that and change it with a different paradigm. And when you try to suppress fear, it typically comes back at you and it manifests itself in physiological ways like stress, anxiety, insomnia, weight gain, weight loss, because we haven't really dealt with it, right? So instead of just putting it off away and ignoring it and suppressing it, which we don't want to do because that doesn't work, so instead of just pushing fear away and pretending like it doesn't exist, I'm going to teach you a brain hack that's going to make fear work for you instead of against you. I'm going to throw a question out there and I want you to answer it to yourself. What is it that you want? When I ask this question to clients or potential clients or even people that I know in real life, I get this a lot. I don't know. I've worked with enough people to know that that is actually a lie. Now, if your answer was, I don't know, don't get hard on yourself because sometimes we really think that we don't know. But our desires, the things that we want in life are so rooted in us that it's not that you don't know, it's that you don't want to admit what it is because, again, of that fear. So you might have a fear of failure. You might have a fear of admitting it because when you admit it, then that means you're held accountable and people are going to start asking you, oh, I thought you said you wanted to be a Disney princess. What's happening with that Disney princess situation? So instead of just going, I don't know, I want you to really spend time thinking about it, and then you can come back to this video and watch the rest of it. Let's say one of your goals and desires is that you want to lose 50 pounds. And I use weight loss because I feel like that's a common one. People can relate because most people want to lose weight, even if it's just, I want to lose 5 pounds. But let's say you want to lose 50 pounds. So now that we've established what you want, hopefully you wrote it down. I want you to now write down what are things that are holding you back from pursuing that goal. So if you want to lose 50 pounds, let's say, maybe one of the things that's holding you back is that you know that you're going to have to change your eating habits, and that's going to be uncomfortable for you. You're not going to want to change your eating habits because you really like eating, you know, pizza and pasta and McDonald's. Maybe that's it. Or maybe you are thinking, oh, it's going to cost me so much money if I have to start eating healthy. It's a lot, you know, more cost effective on my bank account if I can just continue to eat the way that I'm eating. Or maybe you're saying, oh, I'm gonna have to join a gym and, you know, I have no time to join a gym. Where am I gonna find the time? I'm gonna be so exhausted. It's gonna cost money. So think about the things that are holding you back, and then look at them and then say, okay, how is this just making me uncomfortable? So part of it is just really getting clear with yourself and admitting that, you know, pursuing this goal, the reason why I'm not pursuing this goal is because all of these things that I'm saying are hindering me are really things that are causing me to be uncomfortable. So don't associate fear with being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is just in and of itself. Just put that over here. Just tack it up here. These are the reasons I'm uncomfortable right here. Fear has nothing to do with it. It's just gonna make me be really uncomfortable, and I don't want that, right? So now I want you to imagine actually accomplishing your desire, right? So now you're 50 pounds lighter, you're healthier, you feel like you have more energy, you feel more comfortable in your clothing, you know that you are, you know, living, you know, your best life, you're in your best body, you can do things that you were never able to do before because you accomplished the goal that you set out to accomplish. So I want you to think about that and think about all the feelings that come with that. Like, how are you feeling? Happy, excited, joyful? Instead of associating fear with all the things that we tacked up here and all the things that you're uncomfortable about, that's just discomfort, has nothing to do with fear. I want you to now look at 10 years down the road, and I want you to say to yourself, you know what? I am more afraid of not accomplishing my goal. I am more afraid of seeing myself in 10 years still being in the same position, still being stuck, and sometimes even worse off. I'm afraid that, you know, my weight is gonna get worse, or I'm afraid that my blood pressure is gonna get worse, or I'm gonna have really high cholesterol, or I'm not gonna live a long life for my children or for my family. I'm more afraid of that than I am of having to change my diet. I'm more afraid of, you know, not seeing my children grow up than I am about having to spend an extra X amount of dollars on trying to eat healthier food. So instead of associating fear with the elements of discomfort, you're now associating fear with not accomplishing your goal. And as a matter of fact, that is going to couple with your desire for accomplishing the goal, and it's going to be an even stronger driving force to help you pursue it. So does that make sense? I hope that it did. I hope that I explained it properly. So go through that exercise a few times, or as many times as you need to, with as many things as you want in life, and then start to strip away all the elements that you think you're afraid of and just tack them up here as elements of discomfort. And once you do that, like, you'll realize, like, you know what, like, that's okay. I can be uncomfortable because I'm more afraid of something else. When you find yourself more afraid of something than you are of being uncomfortable, it really, really does help. And I can use myself as an example. One of my core values is freedom. I really like feeling free. I like to know that I can do what I want. I can go where I want. You know, no one's telling me that I have to be a certain place at a certain time and I have to do something. Like, freedom is a core value. I really like freedom, which is why I chose the career that I chose, is because it gives me all of the things that I desire out of life. I can live the lifestyle that I want, you know, on my own terms. Right? When I decided to actively pursue it, there was a lot of things that came up for me, like a lot of elements of, oh my goodness, like, I'm putting myself out there. What if no one cares? What if no one listens? What if I'm not able to help anybody? Or what if it's not well received? There were also things of going, oh my gosh, it's gonna take so much time, like, to build my business to where I want it to be, and I'm not gonna get any sleep. I'm not gonna get, you know, I'm gonna be working 24/7. I'm gonna be doing all these things. So there were a lot of emotions and a lot of fears that were coming up. But instead of associating those elements of discomfort with fear, I just said, you know what, like, I'm gonna do this because there's something that I want, and I am more afraid of not getting what I want than I am of the sleepless nights, than I am of the ridicule that I may get by being on YouTube. So I understand how it can be really difficult, but just work through it. Again, take the exercises, take some time. This doesn't happen overnight. You know, this is like what, like a 10-minute video, but you're not gonna figure it out in 10 minutes, I promise. If you're struggling, leave a comment down below and say, hey, you know, I'm struggling with XYZ, and I'll pop in and make sure I read all the comments and then try and answer you. Another great place to catch me is in my Facebook group, which I will link down below. I'm literally on Facebook 16 hours a day answering questions. So that's a great place to find me. And I do want to mention that if you are an entrepreneur with your own business, your own service, maybe you're a counselor or a lawyer, or maybe you sell blankets and you are like, you know what, I need to up-level my marketing. I'm hosting a free video marketing masterclass on Thursday, February 4th, 7:30 p.m. I'll put that link down below as well. Video changed my entire life. I tell people all the time, I'm able to make thousands of dollars in my video marketing because I've sort of cracked the code. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, I think, down the line, but if you're interested, then that is available to you as well. So that is it for this video, you guys. I hope you're having a really awesome day or night or wherever it is you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Take care.